Good morning, everybody. I wanted to come on because I did notice, obviously, it's coming out on it saying that I'm underselling myself on a little one of my lives I did yesterday. However, what I wanted to come on and say was, I know I'm not underselling myself, honestly. I think I just didn't come across the way I wanted to come across. Again, and I know I've done the IPSY courses, I've done the education certificate in law. That is, and that is there, and that is an achievement I've managed to do. But what frustrates me is when I want to try and develop something further, or I have knowledge but I don't have the certificate to support that I have that knowledge, that can then come across to other people that I'm not overstepping my remit, or I don't have the knowledge that I do actually have, and that I feel that stunts me, it stops me, because I really struggle with education. I really struggle to fit in to that academic side of things. Now, when it comes to the IPSY level 2 courses, the IPSY courses, they are done at your own pace. How you needed to do them, it's a question and answer kind of thing, and you do not have to sit down and rewrite things in your own words or in a way that's academically acceptable. And that's where I fall down. And it's not because I don't know the knowledge, it's because with the difficulties that I have, the way that I work and how I am, I tend to simplify things. So it's not that I don't know things, and this is what people have been saying, it's not that I don't know things, because I do know things and I do have the knowledge. It's just that I really struggle to make it academic in my writing. Now, my dyslexia is one of my biggest problems with that, but also my brain, because my brain takes complex knowledge, it takes complex written speech, words, and etc., and it rewrites it in a fashion that most people can understand. And that is where I come in with a lot of my work, because a lot of people come to me to have it broken down in a way that works, in a way that they can understand, in a way that it's not medical language, it's not medical speech, okay? But when it comes to doing a more higher level course, especially at university level, etc., that's not what they want. They want the medical speech, they want it more complex, they want it written academically, and I can't do that. I really struggle. Now, what got me the most and really threw me was when I was doing and trying to do my degree in law, and I ended up not doing it and just taking the higher education certificate in law, is I did some coursework, right, and because I'd broken it down like I do, and for the next stage of the courses above the higher certificate in law, it was too simple for them, so they weren't happy with it, and I got down marked quite a lot. Then when I did my next lot of coursework or assessment or whatever you want to call it, I then got my husband to proofread it, and he helped me with the making sure that it was fluid, making sure that it was that it was more academic, that it wasn't too broken down. Because another thing as well is I've got a really bad way of going off on a tangent and not sticking, and that's my neurodivergent profile as well. And my dyslexia comes into play quite a lot as well, so spelling, grammar, punctuation, all that kind of stuff. So he helped me, he proofread it, he went through it all, and we submitted it. And because I got a better score this time, the tutor decided to say that it was plagiarised, or I'd used AI. Now, Open University went through it all and obviously determined that it wasn't plagiarised and I didn't do AI, but I just felt really unsupported, because I'd managed to do better by gaining some support from my husband, that it was automatically assumed that it couldn't have been my work. And I had a lot of pressure off Open University to start going down the disabled student support kind of thing. But that in itself was a lot to handle, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't go down all that process. I couldn't, and it had all over my student profile, my dyslexia, my autism, my ADHD, my PDA, everything, because I'd provided evidence to prove it all. I'd just not had the capacity to go down and start filling out all these massive forms and having all of these conversations and interviews with people to determine what support I need. And the reason why I'm so avoidant of doing that as well is because of what I had to go through when I used to get access to work support and the interviews, the forms and everything. The trauma that comes with it in the end makes it not worth going through, and makes a lot of people in my situation end up trying to struggle along themselves, because that feels far easier than trying to access all these complex systems that are put into place to make things 100 times harder than they need to be. So that's what I meant yesterday, but it does frustrate me because it does make me feel like I'm stuck, because there's lots more I'd love to do. There's lots more I'd love to be able to do to support our families. Like we're doing the neurodivergent family support. I'd love to be able to build upon that and go into more depth for that, but I can't without a certificate because that's wrong morally. And it's seen as being outside of my remit because I can't prove my expertise or that I have the ability or the qualifications to state that I have this knowledge and this, if you understand what I mean. So yeah, that's what I was trying to say. It just frustrates me because sometimes, and I get what I do, everybody says, what I do is positive. What I meant by that as well is when you work like we do in the systems constantly day in, day out, it can be a constant drain on our mental health. It can be quite, constantly fighting can be quite exhausting. And I suppose being neurodivergent myself and having the difficulties I have myself, and the fact that I have to mask to be able to work and all that kind of stuff's exhausting in itself. So sometimes I just wish there were a way that I could just step down a little bit, if you know what I mean, and just help families in a more less out there way. Does that make sense? Because I still want to do what I do and I love what I do. It can be exhausting at times, and I sometimes would just love to be able to breathe. And that's all I was trying to say. And then, and as I think of all of this, and I think of all of this, and I go through all these thought processes for myself, then I also then start thinking about how our young people and children feel being stuck in a system of education where they're constantly fighting themselves just to survive every day. And that's what I was trying to say. I promise you, I'm not trying to degrade myself. It was just more of a open reflection. Does that make sense? Anyway, that's my little laugh today. Thank you. Love you all lots. Bye.